Hey everybody, it's JT Bagwell. Make sure you subscribe to my channel below and hit me up on any social media at Bagwell Fishing. And I'll teach you anything you ever wanted to know about bass fishing and probably some stuff you never even thought about knowing. So today, I'm going to cover bait casters. More specifically, the question that I see on all message boards and all over social media, and people ask me in person, how do I learn to fish a bait caster? Because they buy these fancy reels and then they go and take them out the first time and end up with a giant bird's nest that they can't even reel anymore. They put the thing in their garage and they never touch it again, only to be out a bunch of money. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of tips today that is greatly going to reduce the learning curve for bait casting reels. So generally when these reels come in, the brake adjustment on the side, which is this dial, is going to be backed off, and this spool tensioner knob right here, which is on the side closest to the handle, that's going to be backed off. So what that's going to allow you to happen here is when I click the thumb bar and let the bait drop to the floor, which I thumbed it a little earlier, you can see just that short a distance to the floor, it gives me a big old backlash. Now just imagine how bad that would have been if you were trying to make a big cast out into the lake. You know, you would have such a big mess that you'd probably end up having to cut your line off. Alright, now that we've got all that pulled out, let me show you a couple of things right off the bat. So the first thing we're going to do for all beginners is we're going to turn this brake adjustment all the way up. On 6-gill reels, they've got a number here, and we're just going to turn it all the way up to where it says max, or 10 basically. So that's the first thing. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn this spool tensioner knob to where when we hit this thumb bar, if you watch, our jig's just going to slowly fall. So when we do that, for new people, what I recommend is you get it to where it slowly falls and then bump it just a little bit extra. So what that's going to do, now watch, I'm going to hit it, it's going to fall to the floor, no backlash. So when you do that, you'll still be able to cast. You just won't get the crazy distance like, you know, like a seasoned user of a bait caster would get. But this is only the beginning. Every time you cast, you're going to get a little bit better, a little bit better. This is just the initial learning phase. So that's the first thing. And again, you're going to turn the brake up as high as it can go, the brake adjustment dial, and then you're going to do the spool tensioner knob to where the bait just barely falls to the floor, and when it touches, the spool stops spinning. So the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to make a little pitch out here. So I have basically one cast length of line out, and then I pull a little bit extra, and then here's something that's going to be key. I did this with my kids, and basically my 10-year-old learned how to use a bait caster in about 20 minutes. So I am going to take a piece of electrical tape and I'm going to put that on the spool. So to recap, I pulled out one cast length of line, and so it's out there. And then I've got this electrical tape, and I'm just going to reel it around the spool, and then I'm going to reel back in. So what that does is now, no matter what I do, it can only come out to the tape. Now you think, what's the significance or the importance of that? So what that is that means if you have a backlash and everything gets out of control, it can only go as deep as that tape. You're not going to have a giant bird's nest because the only amount of line that can be tangled up is the amount of line that you peeled out. So what you do is, you get to where you can cast, and then you're hitting the tape. You cast, you hit the tape. And my kid would tell me every time, Daddy, I hit the tape. Daddy, I hit the tape. So after he hit the tape about 5 or 10 times, I come back, I make him, cast, or I cast myself. I'm going to peel out line. I'm going to take that tape off there. And then I'm going to peel out a little bit more line, maybe like another 20 feet or so. Then I'm going to put that tape back on there. I'm going to reel it back up, which I just put on there crooked. But then I'm going to reel my line back up. Now you can cast 20 extra feet. And this is a continual progress here. So now you'll be casting. When you start to hit that tape again, same thing. And don't just do it when you hit the tape once or twice. After you're consistently hitting the tape, so you'll do the same thing. You'll let your line out, cast, or however you want to get the line out, pull the tape off, pull out another 20 feet or so, put the tape back on. And you do this until you've got enough line out there that you can get a full cast in without hitting the tape. And eventually you just won't even need the tape anymore. And then once you get to that part of the get through that part of the process, now you'll do things like back off the spool tensioner knob, back off the brakes a little bit. And I recommend just making it a gradual process. Don't try to do everything in a day. Back it off just a little bit. And again, this whole adjustment thing that we talked about up front with the brakes and the spool tensioner, you're going to do that with every bait change. This Phoenix Baits Arky jig that I have on there does not weigh the same as, let's say, this Lucky Craft Sammy. They have different weights, so they're not going to be, the settings are not going to be the same for these. Again, just to go through all this again, and I'm doing this because I don't want you guys to hate bait casters, because bait casters are extremely valuable in the sport of bass fishing as far as efficiency and accuracy and the ability to fight big fish. So again, adjust your brake all the way up, adjust your spool tensioner to the point where your bait's just going to slowly fall when you hit the thumb bar, and the spool's going to stop spinning when the bait hits the floor. Peel out a cast worth of the line, put that electrical tape on there and reel it back up, and make your adjustments when you're constantly hitting the tape. Remember, pull out more line, put the tape back on, reel it up, do it again. And again, eventually you're not going to need this tape, and you'll be casting your jig or whatever 70 yards, just like all the rest of us that use 6-gill equipment. But again, follow me on all social media at Bagwell Fishing. Smash the subscribe button below, and good luck with your baitcaster. You'll get it. Just be patient. Don't give up. Everybody struggles with them at first. It's just part of the learning process. And you'll enjoy your time on the water once you get it mastered. Good luck, everybody.